You wake up exhausted, drag yourself through another day, and fall into bed wondering why you feel like you're living someone else's life. You've been living in your head so long that your body feels like a stranger, and you can't remember the last time you felt truly alive. But that deep feeling of exhaustion just doesn't seem to go away. It's a frustrating cycle, and it often feels like you're missing a crucial piece of the puzzle. Welcome to your mental journey guide. I'm Camilla, and today, Henry and I are going to talk about that missing piece, the fundamental power of our body's natural rhythms. We'll explore how syncing up with them can be the key to unlocking the energy, health, and joy you've been searching for. Henry, it's so good to have you here to talk about this.
It's great to be here, Camilla. This topic is so incredibly important, and I think it's something that gets overlooked far too often in our busy lives. We're always looking for the next big solution, the complex answer. But sometimes the most profound changes come from getting back to the basics.
Exactly. And when we talk about basics, we're really talking about the 5 essential rhythms that form the foundation of our well-being: sleep, nutrition, activity, movement, and breathing. When these are out of sync, it feels like you're constantly swimming against the current. You can have the best career goals or personal development plans, but if your foundational rhythms are in chaos, you'll see very little progress. But the beautiful thing is, when you start to harmonize them, your entire life can improve almost immediately.
I completely agree. It's like a set of interconnected gears. If one gear is stuck or grinding, the whole machine slows down. You can't just focus on sleep without considering what you're eating, or focus on movement without thinking about your breathing. They all influence each other, and the goal is to synchronize them not just with each other, but with our environment too, like the natural day and night cycle. Our bodies are designed to work with nature, not against it.
That's a perfect way to put it. And for women, up until menopause, there's another crucial rhythm to consider: the menstrual cycle. This roughly 28-day cycle is a powerful internal clock that influences everything from our energy levels to our mood. Ignoring it is like trying to navigate without a compass. It's an essential part of the bigger picture of our internal harmony. But often, we live for years completely ignoring these signals, pushing our bodies to the limit.
Oh, I know that story all too well. For about 8 years of my life, my rhythms were a complete disaster. I was working in a high-pressure environment, constantly chasing deadlines. My daily routine was pure chaos. I was sleeping maybe 5 or 6 hours a night, thinking that was all I needed. I'd work for 10 to 12 hours straight, fueled by an endless supply of coffee and sugary snacks. My body was in a constant state of high alert, running purely on adrenaline.
That sounds incredibly draining. How did you even unwind after a day like that?
Well, that's the thing. I thought I was unwinding. I would get home and immediately turn on my computer to play video games for hours. I told myself it was my way to relax, to de-stress. But in reality, it was just another form of stimulation. My brain was still in overdrive, my eyes were glued to a screen, and my body was tense. It was false relaxation. It gave me a temporary escape, but it didn't provide any real rest or recovery. I was just trading one form of stress for another.
That pattern is so recognizable. The idea of false relaxation. We scroll through social media or binge watch a series thinking we're resting, but our nervous system is still highly activated. What were the first signs for you that this lifestyle was taking a toll?
It started subtly. At first, it was just light headaches at the end of the day. I'd pop a painkiller and move on. But over time, they became more frequent, more intense, until they escalated into full-blown migraines that would knock me out for a whole day. My immune system was shot. I was catching every cold that went around the office. Then came the physical pains. A persistent ache in my neck and lower back from sitting hunched over a desk all day, and then a gaming chair all night. My skin started breaking out. I just felt fragile.
And what about mentally? How did it affect you on the inside?
That was perhaps the worst part. I developed this constant, low-level hum of anxiety. It was both mental and physical. My thoughts would race, but my body also felt perpetually on edge, like I was waiting for something bad to happen. There was this internal unrest I couldn't shake, no matter what I did. I was irritable, my patience was gone, and I felt completely disconnected from myself. It all culminated in what I can only describe as complete exhaustion, a classic burnout. My body just gave up. It was my rock bottom.
Thank you for sharing that, Henry. It's a powerful story, and I'm sure so many people listening can relate to parts of it. What you're describing is the reality of the modern vitality crisis. So many of us are living structurally beyond our limits. We've built up this huge energy debt, and we don't even realize how high the balance is until it all comes crashing down.
Absolutely. You're so addicted to the feeling of being productive, of being on, that you lose the ability to actually relax. You work through your energy dips with more caffeine or sugar, you're constantly in a state of high concentration, and you become an expert at pushing away your body's signals and emotions. You tell yourself you'll rest on the weekend or on vacation, but the debt just keeps accumulating.
It's fascinating that this has become our cultural norm, and I think a lot of it stems from a philosophical idea that's deeply embedded in our society. The philosopher Descartes famously said, "I think, therefore I am." This created a separation between the mind and the body. Our culture still operates on this idea. We see the body as a machine, a vehicle that the mind, the I, has to control and command.
Yes, you see that mindset everywhere. It's in those work hard, play hard slogans, the no pain, no gain fitness mentality, the whole concept of mind over matter. It frames the body as an obstacle, something to be overcome in the pursuit of our ambitions and deadlines. If your body is tired, you push it harder. If it's sick, you medicate it so you can keep going. It's almost seen as heroic to conquer your body's limitations.
Precisely. We treat our bodies like we're squeezing every last drop of performance out of them, instead of seeing them as a source of wisdom. We see the signal of tiredness not as a valid request for rest, but as an inconvenience to our plans. And this approach is fundamentally at odds with how our bodies are actually designed to function.
That's the perfect transition, because we need to shift that entire metaphor. Your body isn't a machine, it's more like a complex, self-regulating orchestra. An orchestra doesn't play at maximum volume and tempo all the time. It has moments of high activity and tension, the crescendos, but these are always balanced with moments of quiet, rest, and release. That rhythmicity, that constant interplay between opposites, is what creates beautiful music, and it's also what creates a healthy life.
What a great analogy! The orchestra of the body. So, what are the main instruments, the main rhythms in that 24-hour cycle?
Well, you have the most obvious ones. You have the rhythm of waking and sleeping, the rhythm of nourishing your body and fasting. You have the rhythm of exertion and relaxation, of activity and rest, of movement and stillness. Even our breath is a constant, beautiful rhythm of inhaling and exhaling. All these processes work together. When one is out of tune, the whole orchestra sounds off. The burnout I experienced was my entire orchestra just stopping the performance. It was a cacophony of noise.
And that's where developing body awareness becomes so crucial. If your body is an orchestra, then body awareness is the conductor. It's the part of you that listens to all the different sections and ensures they're playing in harmony. It's about learning to speak and understand the language of your body, which is a language of sensation, of feeling, of energy.
I love that. The conductor. For years, my conductor was completely ignoring the orchestra and just reading a book, hoping for the best. Learning to listen again was the hardest but most important part of my recovery.
What are some of the concrete benefits you noticed once you started tuning in, once your conductor stepped back onto the podium?
The first thing was just being able to recognize the signals more clearly. Before, I wouldn't notice I was hungry until I was starving, or tired until I was about to collapse. Now, I can feel the subtle shifts. I can feel when my energy is starting to wane, and I know it's a signal to take a short break, not to reach for another coffee. This allows for much better regulation of all those rhythms we talked about. It's not about forcing a schedule, but about responding to your body's needs in real time.
And that connection goes even deeper. It connects you back to your core needs, your values, your desires. When you're in tune with your body, you have a much clearer sense of what's right for you in any given situation. It becomes your navigation system. And let's not forget, it also allows for so much more physical pleasure, joy, and well-being. You can actually enjoy the feeling of being in your body again.
Absolutely. That was a huge part of my recovery. It started with acknowledging that I was completely burned out and that my current approach wasn't working. The first practical step for me was creating a very simple, very consistent schedule. The goal wasn't to be perfect, but to give my body a predictable rhythm it could rely on.
What did that simple schedule look like?
It was incredibly basic. I made a rule to be in bed before 10 p.m. every single night, no exceptions. I set fixed times for breakfast, lunch, and dinner to stabilize my blood sugar and energy. I made sure to get some form of movement in every day, even if it was just a 10-minute walk outside. And I forced myself to get up at a consistent time, even on weekends. The most important part, though, was the one golden rule I set for myself. If I felt tired, I had to stop and rest immediately. No pushing through.
That last rule is probably the hardest one for most people to follow. It feels so counterproductive in our society.
It was brutal at first. My mind would scream at me, telling me I was being lazy, that I was falling behind. But my body was desperate for that rest. I would sit on the couch for 10 minutes, and sometimes I would just fall asleep. It took immense patience. I had to rebuild that trust with my body, one small step at a time. Slowly but surely, the energy started to come back. I felt more in touch with my emotions, my self-awareness grew, and ironically, I eventually became far more productive than when I was working 12-hour days.
That's such an important point you're making, and it's so crucial for everyone listening to understand that this process isn't about forcing yourself into a rigid, military-style schedule. It's a tool to help you move forward, not a new form of pressure. You have to be compassionate with yourself. If you're completely exhausted, the goal is to listen to that, not to force a 5 a.m. workout. This is a supportive framework you can use when you feel capable, a way to gently guide yourself back to balance. It's not about perfection, it's about direction and self-compassion.
Exactly. It's a supportive guide, not a rigid cage. You have to start where you are. Even in complete chaos, you can always take one tiny step to reestablish a rhythm. Just focus on one thing, like a consistent bedtime, and build from there.
I couldn't agree more. And as we talk about these rhythms, we have to bring the conversation back to that other essential rhythm for women. The statistics are quite staggering. About 1 in 3 women struggle with menstrual complaints. This can range from painful periods to irregular cycles and severe PMS. And we now know that the menstrual cycle is a vital sign for female health. A healthy, regular cycle is seen by many scientists as a fundamental indicator of overall vitality in women.
It's something that is so often dismissed or overlooked in general health and wellness advice. The standard advice is often based on a 24-hour male hormonal cycle, which just doesn't apply in the same way.
Exactly. The dysregulation of the menstrual cycle can lead to a whole host of other health issues down the line. So when women are planning their rhythms, their activity, their nutrition, it's so beneficial to incorporate their own cycle. Understanding that you'll have more energy during ovulation and may need more rest and gentle movement just before your period isn't a weakness. It's working intelligently with your own biology. It's another layer of listening to your body's orchestra. The cycle length itself can vary, of course. The average is 28 days, but a week more or less is also common. The increasing prevalence of these issues really calls for more attention and respect for these uniquely female rhythms.
It's a critical piece of the puzzle for half the population. It's another perfect example of how our one-size-fits-all, machine-like approach to health and productivity fails us. We are not machines. We are living, breathing, cyclical beings.
What a perfect way to summarize our conversation. We are cyclical beings, not linear machines. Henry, thank you so much for sharing your insights and your personal story with us today. It's been incredibly valuable. And to everyone listening, I want to compliment you for taking this time for yourself, for being curious about how you can better support your own well-being. That curiosity is the first and most important step. Join our Mental Journey Guide community for more conversations that can support you in creating the life you truly desire with greater ease, joy, and resilience. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, where we share mental insights and inspiration every day to help you on your journey. We invite you to help us spread the word by liking, commenting, and sharing this episode. Together, let's reach more people who need it.